Well, look who it is. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I have a progress report now. As some of you may have noticed, I've been uploading daily, and this is only the fourth video I've uploaded, but for the account itself,
it's been 1 week.
And now I want to give you guys a kind of like an update of where I'm at right now and what I plan on focusing on in the future. So as you can see here, we have in fact collected our Alice today, along with a bunch of other stuff. Right here, just off the bat on the screen, we've got our gem mine up to level 2, and we will be working on getting it to level 3. Now, the gem mine, if you plan on playing your account for any amount of time, getting your gem mine to level 3 is crucial because it is a bit of an investment. The way it kind of maths out is you spend about 90 days worth of gems on the mine. And the mine, once it hits level 3, it takes about 90 days to pay you back. And then after that, it's all profit. So I'm working on getting the gem mine up. The other thing I want to say is you might want to consider getting some of your gems into your market, because later on, some of these slots can have ancient shards that you can purchase with silver. And on a free-to-play account, any free shards you can get your hands on are absolutely crucial. Go ahead and look at our champions. Now, as you can see, I don't have much left. I've used up every single mystery shard I have. And now we have Kayle to 6 stars. 6 stars, level 60. I used the free XP barrel or keg that they give you to get him up to level 60. Got all of his masteries, got him geared out, and he is ready to go. He is going to help us push further in everything, basically. My next conundrum is, who do I go for next? Like, who's going to be my next 6-star? And I think I've kind of settled on 2 candidates. I've started working on Eris a bit. I got her fully booked out, and mostly that was just with copies of her that I got from farming 6-7 over and over again for some speed gear. I've also got her geared out in some speed gear and some bloodthirst gear. My plan for her is to just get her tanky, and that way I can guarantee that I'm constantly getting this buff removal and this increased speed. I don't really need her for damage because that's what I have Kayle for, and so now the team is going to start building around Kayle. I did see an interesting video about whether or not Alice should have been maxed out. There was kind of a debate about whether or not when you get these free legendaries, if you should invest in them instead of Kayle. But I felt like I had already poured so much time and resources into Kayle that not getting him finished would have really felt bad. Not only that, but Alice being a legendary, her need for potions for ascension is higher, and I don't exactly have a whole lot of books at the moment to put into her. So I think I will be investing in her in the future. She's really good in PvP with her clockwork cyclone, locking people out of their abilities. And then she can hit really, really hard. She's also got a conditional 3-hitter on her A3. So it's not that Alice is worse than Kayle. It's just by the time I got Alice, I had already invested a lot into Kayle. The other candidate was Bellower. Now, I got Bellower from a promo code, and I realized something, that I was thinking about grabbing a Ward Maiden, and I still might because of the decreased defense. But the thing about Bellower is he brings so much to the table. He has a 100% chance to drop decreased attack and defense, albeit on a 4-turn cooldown, but It's 100% chance, and you're getting both of those debuffs. On the A2, on a 3-turn cooldown, we're putting a small decreased speed. And on the A1, we have a 30% chance of block active skills. You put all of this together, and I feel like Bellower as my wave debuffer, and even boss debuffer, even though the decreased defense is smaller, the fact that I can put so much more into his kit with one champion opens up the potential, or it kind of opens up the design space for building a team, because now I don't just have War Maiden with decreased defense and that's all she's doing. I have Bellower, who's bringing a bunch of debuffs, Eris bringing the increased speed, Kayle being my nuker, and so now, my options are a lot more open because I don't need to bring decreased attack or decreased speed on somebody else. Bellower has it. My thought process for a 4th and a 5th, I have Elfguard here, and I've already booked her out with copies of herself. Haven't put any gear into her, haven't invested that much at all, aside from feeding copies of herself. And I do have, it's so funny because Armiger is probably arguably the best uncommon of the entire bunch. You could definitely make an argument for a couple others. And I've only gotten one copy of Armiger, so I haven't been able to feed him more copies of himself. But these guys are going to be my turn meter manipulation, and Armiger also has big hits. I also could potentially pull out Vergus. I don't think I'm going to pull out Wukong yet, but I could potentially pull out Vergus. He's going to bring pull him out. He's going to bring the ally protection, which is going to really, really help me with Clan Boss, pushing Clan Boss further. He brings a lot of buffs, or it looks like he brings a lot of buffs, but he's only bringing these things onto one target ally. And realistically, what he's doing for my team is he is absorbing 50% of all the incoming damage onto himself. He's also very tanky and has a really good setup for survivability. So I think Vergus might make it. Now that I've got my first 60, I'm kind of playing around with why not use these champs that I got for free. I haven't paid for them. And so why not, right? I mean, if you have a free to play account and you're not using promo codes, that's fine, but you're not going to have the same resources. So you're really doing yourself a disservice. So I think Vergus is definitely on the list. And as a 5th, I have a couple of ideas kind of playing around. I guess he would be my 5th, but it depends on whether or not I actually invest into Armiger or Elfguard. They're kind of the tentative. There's a couple of other champions I'm thinking about maybe grabbing and putting onto the team that I can farm elsewhere. But that's kind of it for now. Like I said, my big focus right now is Clan Boss. And the reason why Clan Boss is my biggest concern is this right here. These rewards that you get for clearing Clan Boss every day. So on easy right now, I'm, 1 king easy, but you can kind of do that right off the bat. We have chances now to get ancient shards. And when you look through the list all the way down to the highest difficulty, Ultra Nightmare, when you get here and you can get this Transcendent chest, this is the only reasonable way that you're going to be farming for Sacred Shards. And so getting there as quickly as possible, in my mind, is the absolute most important thing for a long-term free-to-play account. Outside of that, the only other concern we really have at the moment is now that Kayla's 6 stars, I've been working my way through hard campaign, getting all of the 3 stars. I've already done that with normal, but working my way through hard and potentially brutal, although brutal is definitely a little more difficult for sure. Because I want this sacred shard. This is right now, to the best of my knowledge, the only sacred shard I have available to me. And I don't want to get to a point where there's a shard pull event, a 2-time shard pull event, and I don't have the sacred shard. That would be deeply, deeply upsetting. As for that, I mean, still sitting on all my ancients. I've got 2 voids, so there's a potential here for a couple more. But realistically, at the end of a week, that's where I'm at. And I think honestly that I did pretty good for myself for a week. I know that there's probably ways I could have gotten Kayle to 60 faster. And I wonder if maybe I shouldn't have done that, or I should have done that. But I'm looking at my missions. I've kind of just been playing it the way I think people would normally play. And kind of, I don't want to say suboptimally, but as optimal is what makes sense. Because, yeah, you can grind campaign, and I probably could have, especially with all the free, chickens that they give you, I probably could be working on my second 60 already. But then I'd have to go back and do everything that these Arbiter missions want, because eventually Arbiter is going to be a huge boost to the account. 30% increased speed buff. Turn meter fill, brings the big attack, has a revive. I mean, you name it. Arbiter is a great support. And so getting to her as quickly as possible would be nice. Also working through these missions, because getting through this second row of missions is how I get my second sacred shard. Feasibly is how I get my second sacred shard. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I have a couple of other plans for videos in the future, probably talking about a little bit of math and a lot of resource management, because now this is really where the rubber meets the road. You have your first 60, campaign farming is easy, getting through a lot of early dungeons is going to be easier. What are you doing to set yourself up for the next step in your free-to-play account, which is getting your clan boss team set up? Doom Tower will be coming soon. There's a lot of free resources you get every month from that. Curse City comes much later on, but, getting yourself geared for that. Also, faction wars. I'll be honest, my faction wars, I've worked on the Dark Elves because Kayle is a Dark Elf, but outside of that, I haven't touched any of the other factions. And that's kind of skewed my thought process to maybe I want to try and pick one champion from each faction and get one champion from each faction that is good, so that I can at least farm the early stages of faction wars. Because right now where my account sits, being able to craft as much perception gear as I can would really, really help me. So that's it for today, guys. Not a very long video. Just wanted to, touch base, show you guys what I'm working with and kind of what my plans are moving forward. And I hope that, this helped. Maybe it was somewhat entertaining. Let me know if you guys are doing a free-to-play account, where you're at and what your focus is at the moment. And I will see you guys later.